Two stars, one stage of perception. What happens when two stars, born from the same generation, rise under completely opposite lights? One cloaked in shadows, whispering her truth through pain and minimalism. The other shimmering in the spotlight, radiating joy, confidence, and unapologetic femininity. But here's the question that no one seems brave enough to ask. Are Billie Eilish and Sabrina Carpenter really so different? Or are they simply two sides of the same coin? Reflections of a generation that learned to smile through anxiety, to sing through fear, and to dance on the edge of judgment. In this video, we'll dive deep into the psychology of fame and uncover why the world needs both Billie's melancholy and Sabrina's glittering defiance. You're about to discover that authenticity wears more than one face, so take a breath, don't click away. Because by the end of this video, you might not just understand these two women, you might understand yourself a little better. 2. Fame and vulnerability. The cost of exposure. Billie Eilish entered the scene like a storm, quiet, unpredictable, and electric. Her first whisper of ocean eyes made the world stop, not because it was loud, but because it was real. Her image? Oversized clothes, heavy thoughts, unfiltered pain. She didn't want to be looked at. She wanted to be heard. And for millions of young listeners drowning in their own insecurities, Billie became a mirror. Sabrina Carpenter, on the other hand, came from light. A Disney-trained artist who grew up performing, smiling, being perfect. But perfection can be its own kind of prison. Behind the glitter and choreography was a girl constantly proving she was more than the blonde pop princess. When she released Emails I Can't Send, it wasn't just an album. It was a declaration of emotional rebellion. Suddenly, Sabrina wasn't the girl next door anymore. She was the woman next chapter. 3. Contrast of light and shadow. The aesthetic of emotion. Billie's world is dark, cinematic, soft green hues, low voices, whispers of pain. Her songs don't just describe sadness, they live in it. Each track feels like a dream you're not supposed to wake up from, a space between comfort and chaos. Sabrina, in contrast, is a master of light, but not the shallow kind. Her radiance is intentional, almost weaponized. She uses pop aesthetics the way Billie uses silence. Both are forms of control. When Sabrina sings about heartbreak, she does it with a wink, as if telling her pain, "You don't get to own me." It's easy to see Billie as the introvert and Sabrina as the extrovert. But what if they're both performing survival? What if Billie hides in shadows because the light burns her too quickly, and Sabrina lives in the spotlight because the darkness scares her too much? 4. Generational pressure. The social media mirror. Let's talk about the world they grew up in. A generation raised on likes, comments, and algorithmic approval. Every smile must be strategic. Every tear must be aesthetic. For Billie, this pressure became unbearable. She spoke openly about body image, online hate, and the anxiety of being dissected by millions. Her oversized clothes weren't just a fashion statement, they were armor. For Sabrina, social media was both a weapon and a wound. The driver's license drama, the endless comparisons, the mean girl label. She didn't choose any of that narrative. It was chosen for her, but instead of fighting it head-on, she turned it into art. Her response wasn't rage, it was resilience. Songs like Because I Liked a Boy became modern feminist manifestos, disguised as pop hits. In a culture obsessed with tearing women apart, Billie and Sabrina did something radical. They stayed. They didn't run, they didn't fade. They redefined what it means to survive under scrutiny. 5. Reinvention and authenticity. The art of becoming. Billie's blonde transformation in 2021 shocked the world. People called it a rebrand, but it was more like a shedding. She wasn't losing herself. She was revealing the parts that fame had forced her to hide. When she said, "I feel more womanly now," she wasn't talking about makeup or dresses. She was talking about ownership, the right to evolve. Sabrina's reinvention was quieter, but equally powerful. With every lyric, she took back her story, one confession at a time. Emails I Can't Send wasn't about perfection. It was about permission. Permission to be messy, to feel too much, to not be the polished version the world demanded. Both artists teach the same silent lesson. Authenticity is not a fixed state. It's a fight renewed every morning. 6. Legacy in the future. What they teach us. Billie represents the chaos of introspection, The beauty of breaking quietly. Sabrina represents the joy of recovery, the courage of standing tall even after the world mislabels you. One teaches us how to face our pain, the other how to rise from it. But maybe the real magic lies not in their differences, but in their coexistence. Because the truth is, there's a Billie and a Sabrina inside all of us. The part that hides, and the part that shines. The shadow that needs healing, and the light that refuses to dim. 7. The cinematic outro, the mirror between them. So next time you hear Billie whisper her sorrow, or watch Sabrina laugh through her heartbreak, remember, neither of them is playing a role. They're performing the same human story, just in different keys. And maybe that's what makes this generation of artists so powerful. They no longer chase perfection. They chase connection. They remind us that pop music isn't about who's louder, prettier, or more streamed. It's about who's real enough to make us feel seen. 2 stars, 2 styles, 1 shared truth, that in the end, authenticity always wins. 8. Sound and production. Crafting emotional landscapes. Sound is not decoration for either Billie or Sabrina. It is the very architecture of feeling they inhabit. Billie's music often builds on sparse spaces, hushed verses, abrupt dynamic shifts, and production choices that make the listener feel physically close to the singer. Silence becomes texture. Reverb becomes memory. The way a breath is mic'd, the decision to let a vocal wobble sit unprocessed, the use of sub-bass to make a chest ache. These are deliberate choices that turn private emotion into a public, almost tactile experience. Sabrina's sonic world, by contrast, uses density and motion. Her productions layer synths, percussive hi-hats, and bright chordal textures that create momentum, a forward push that invites choreography, movement, and communal release. Her voice is deliberately front and center in moments of high confidence, then artfully blended with harmonies when vulnerability arrives. Where Billie weaponizes minimalism to make you listen inward, Sabrina designs maximal moments that make you move outward. 9. Fandom, identity, and community. The audience as mirror artists do not exist without listeners. For both Billie and Sabrina, fandom is not passive. It's a living ecosystem that influences identity, career decisions, and public perception. Billie's fans prize vulnerability and authenticity. They create spaces online where confessions, poetry, and mental health discourse flourish. Sabrina's audience often coalesces around empowerment narratives, transformation, confidence, and reclamation. Both communities show how identity in the digital age is co-authored. Billie and Sabrina write, but they also read the room. Social media metrics, fan reactions, and snippet culture inform album cycles and tour set lists. 10. Commerce, control, and agency branding, touring, and survival fame is romance until it becomes logistics. Behind every aesthetic decision lies contracts, tours, sponsorships, and long-term sustainability. Billie's aesthetic choices, the oversized silhouettes, the subversive imagery, function as both artistic statements and brand signals. Sabrina's polished image and choreography-friendly tracks are commercially astute. They translate into streams, sync deals, and arena-ready moments. The most resilient creatives reclaim control, writing credits, production involvement, ownership stakes, strategic partnerships that respect artistic vision. Commerce and creativity don't have to be enemies. They can be allies if the artist remains the author of their own story.